It's everything. I mean, you know, I mean, like, you know, we've had fabulous players throughout the Irish team, but you know, there's been squads of 30 people. There's been coaching staff, and it's all been about teamwork. I think the happiest teams tend to be successful as well. I think it's one thing I suppose we've had with Ireland through the years. One thing we've had with Munster through the years. We've had very happy teams that have gotten on well together and probably worked hard at getting on well together as well. And I think when you're in rugby, certainly with it being such a physical game and such a tough game, I think if you're playing for the guy on both sides of you as much as you're playing for your own personal ambitions, I think it makes a big difference. So teamwork is everything. You know, you're in this unique situation where you've people from 4 different countries that are, you know, they've had a lot of tough battles with each other throughout the years and are a small bit wary of each other. And, you know, if you spend 2 or 3 weeks being wary of each other, it leaves you 3 weeks to get to know each other. And I think the main thing I would have done anyway would have been something I would have taken from Declan Kidney, is that, you know, I was picked because of who I was, because of what I do with Ireland and because of what I do with Munster. And I went over there to be no different than what I'd been picked for. I mean, I remember young players coming into the Munster team throughout my career when I was young, and Declan would have said to them all the time, "You're picked because of what you've been doing. Don't try and do anything different. Don't try and be something you're not." And that's the main thing I would have done when I went over there. Another thing we did was we did 2 things over there. We enjoyed ourselves. For guys that have 6 weeks to get to know each other before they take on the world champions, you know, we really need to get to know each other. So we had a few nights out, which was obviously good fun, but I think helped and was very important. And we trained for very short periods of time, but when we did train, we trained hard. So we were working really hard together. And I think when you work hard with people and socialise with people, you do build a good bond with them. In 2005, it was a little bit different. It was a bit more clinical, a bit more professional, and I just don't think we got to know each other and as much as we did in 2009. Those 2 factors, enjoying each other's company, and, you know, it meant having a few nights out, which isn't ideal, but you have trade-offs. And actually, when we did train together, we trained for short periods of time, but worked really hard. And same as socialising together, I think working hard together builds a big bond as well. I think the big thing is that every week the standards to which we hold ourselves are measured every week. We play a game. So, you know, you either lose and you're back in on Monday and you have to review what you're doing, check what you're doing, see that, you know, have you missed anything? Are you doing things right? Or you win and you're happy with what you're doing, you continue on that path. And it's like each week, you know, lets you know you're going right or you're going wrong. And that's a big thing for us that sport has that maybe business doesn't have. We're responsible for, when we play on Saturday, we're responsible for the reputation of Munster. The buck stops with the players. And, you know, maybe in business, does the buck stop with, you know, the people on the ground or workers on the ground as much? I don't know. If a company isn't getting the results, people look at the top dog or whatever. But in rugby, you know, the team are out there every week in front of the media, in front of the crowd, in front of the television audience. So it tends to make players equally as responsible as the people who are making the big decisions at the top. Yeah, college life would be great. I'd be bringing my little son in with me into college. But I don't know if I had a stomach now to go back to college, come out of college at 34 or 5 and then go and try and get experience. I don't know. I think I'll finish it. I'd love to finish it and I'll see from there. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think there's certainly something to be had from it. You know, you got to be positive. I mean, you got to believe. If you don't believe in what you're doing, I think you're fairly lost. It doesn't matter how hard you're working or how hard you're training. You've got to believe in what you're doing. And I think with Ireland we've had that. I think we didn't have the best Six Nations of our lives this year, but come the England game, I think, you know, the crowd hadn't lost belief in the team. They knew how good we could be, and the atmosphere that day, once we gave them something to shout about as well, the atmosphere that day was incredible. The roar that day was absolutely incredible, and I think in Irish business it has to be the same as well. You gotta believe in what you're doing. If you have something good, you gotta believe in it. There'll be plenty of setbacks, even especially now in the current environment. There'll be plenty of setbacks, but I think if you believe, what is the saying? If you believe you can or you can't, you're normally right.